the answers that you're looking for are lying just beyond the frame.
There were some good moments in this movie.
I agree.
There were some scenes that I liked.
Yeah.
There were some sequences I liked, some shots I enjoyed.
Yeah.
They were, few and far between, maybe we'll say, but they were there nonetheless, right?
Yeah.
I loved the music. I'm a fan of The Weeknd. I'm a fan of his music. I have followed him since the trilogy and have listened to all of his albums. I saw him live back in 2015. Jenna Ortega, I thought, was a breath of fresh air in this.
She's so good.
She's damn good at anything she does. She was fantastic. I enjoyed when she was on the screen. It was something to celebrate.
I completely agree.
When I left the theater, I held the door for somebody, and he strikes up a conversation. He goes, "Weird-ass movie, huh?" And I went, yeah, real weird.
Yeah.
The director, Trey Edward Schultz, does have a very specific style.
For sure.
And this movie fits that style. He's got a... more kind of like it edges on the side of experimental.
Well, and it doesn't surprise me he's done horror films because it felt
at times
empty and it felt distant and it felt impersonal and it felt cold like horror movies do.
Interesting.
So a lot of it to me is like blue light and just it was chilly. Even his performances gave such a feeling of isolation, but that's what the artist was feeling.
Sure.
So I thought that was a pretty effective way of conveying that.
Yeah.
But I can see that he's made horror movies makes sense to me.
And his style's not for everyone, I don't think. I mean, we talk about, art's subjective. It's not for everybody.
Right.
Everything isn't for everyone. There's plenty of directors that just aren't my flavor.
Right.
They're just not my cup of tea.
Sure.
I mean, we've talked about that on the pod before. Like movies were just like, it was a good movie, but it's just not my thing.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think this director in particular has that where it's you like it or you don't. It's so funny. This movie's very split. What I've seen on IMDb, what I've seen on Letterboxd is like it's either 1 star or it's 5. It's either 1 star or it's 10. And a lot of the positive reviews I'm reading are online with very diehard The Weeknd fans.
Got it.
They're very like day one, like obsessed. This is like the artist of my lifetime. Those people are giving it like 10 out of 10. This is what we've always wanted. Something like that. So I can imagine if you're a massive day one Weeknd fan that you're probably going to enjoy this film. Now, are we ready to start pulling back the curtain
Oh
here?
my God, yeah.
The first point is an overuse of elements. What you said earlier, only using what serves the story. I mean, that's so important as a filmmaker you have to kill your darlings. You have to, and that's not even just dialogue. That's not just scenes. That's all the decisions that you make. They have to serve the plot, the theme, the story, the characters. And if you're not doing that, it starts to feel disingenuous and it starts to take the audience out of it. So then now you're not being as effective of a filmmaker as you can be. And I felt that so many times in this. I mean, keep the fucking camera straight.
Okay, that was getting to you?
Why am I
Exactly.
I almost texted you and was like, hey man, sorry ahead of time. This is going to like make you vomit.
Because Ryan knows I get kind of motion sick if there's too much camera movement.
The camera was just going like this the whole...
Right. What's the point?
Almost the whole first half of the film.
Yes.
We're just watching the movie like this.
That's right.
And at times, there were times when I felt that it was necessary. There were times when like someone's, messed up. They took some drugs or they took some alcohol and like they're on the dance floor. I get that. Like that's where I'm talking about using the element with purpose. But then if it's like a scene where somebody's driving in a car, I don't need the camera spinning around. Like you're not doing anything to serve the scene. That serves no purpose. And when you overuse those, again, it's going to start to pull you out as the audience. You're going to start to go like, what?
Totally. There were also some visual sequences that I could not make out what we were looking at. And it happened 2 or 3 times. One time there was just kind of embers. I'm like, it's pretty, but why? Mm-hmm. And there were other times where it was just kind of red and black, and I don't know if it's blood. I didn't know what I was looking at. but it's just the music playing, and I just thought, this is not a music video, and I didn't understand why we were seeing what we were seeing.
The second thing, an overuse of big emotion. So
Okay.
it goes the same way to me when it comes to elements. So if the entire film, the lead character is crying, I'm feeling
Okay.
nothing. I feel
Good point.
absolutely nothing.
There's no contrast.
But if you hold that for the emotional climax for like,
Yes.
whenever third way through the film, I'm going to feel it's going to impact me.
Right.
But if every single scene, I'm just seeing the character, he's crying, he's crying, he's crying, he's crying, he's crying, he's
Yep.
crying, he's crying.
Yeah.
It's just, I can't feel anything.
Yeah.
It's
a really
there's
good
nothing
point.
coming out of me because it's just becoming it's redundant.
Well, there's stasis at that point, in that sense of emotion. There's
Totally.
no movement. Yeah.
So you felt that way too?
Big time.
Yeah.
Big time.
I just kept being like, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
And this is a sidebar. I don't want to spend too much time on this because I'm going to say something later about it, but The Weeknd should have stuck to making music.
Ooh. Okay. Yeah.
And
I
we
hear
can
you.
just move on.
I
but,
hear you.
Sometimes
I hear ya.
people are, they're really, really damn good at something.
Yes.
And he is a exceptional musician. But that doesn't mean that he needs to enter the acting world.
Yeah. Fair enough.
So I felt that a lot as
Okay.
well. And that could maybe play into this overuse of big emotion where
Could
I'm
be.
going, "Do you really need to cry here? Or
Yeah.
can we,
Yeah.
And this is tough because it's a film that's about, it's deep emotions and somebody who's going through something difficult and is self-destructive, and that's a tightrope to walk.
True.
I think it's too much of a bite for him, for sure. The next thing I'm going to say is it was confusing.
That's exactly
It was ridiculous.
It was confusing.
It was over the top. There was plot holes, characters that didn't mean anything at all other than to support another character. They had zero dynamicism to them.
I did love Barry Keogh.
Yeah.
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 In
Like
that
the character
role,
or him in the role?
Him in that role.
Oh yeah, totally.
So good.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. Him and
He's so
Jenna
good.
Ortega. I mean, they'll smash
Jenna
anything.
Ortega. I get I think there's so much potential for her, for both of those actors. There's
Which
so
makes
much.
me a little bit like, I want to throw this question to you,
Sure.
but I'm seeing Jenna Ortega take a couple of like roles that are not great, and in movies that are not great. And is that her? Is that the manager? Is that like what's happening there where she's taken like really not great roles in really shitty movies?
I wish I could answer that. I can't.
Because she's got so much potential. She's such a fantastic actress.
One of the things I wondered halfway through this movie, and there wasn't really dialogue until about an hour in. I was like, finally the camera has stopped and now they're actually having some conversation. I was like, oh my God, that took a long time.
I can breathe now.
Right. And she's one of the producers of this movie.
I saw that, yeah.
So I thought maybe this is how they could afford her. That maybe she gets money on the back end off the gate.
Well, she ain't
I
getting
don't
any
know.
money on the
No,
back end of
that's what
this,
I
can
thought it
promise you
too.
that.
But I don't know about the decisions. I still think she crushes whatever she's in.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just genuinely curious as a person. Like, is she like, you got to read this script and go, this movie's dog shit. I'm not acting in this. I mean, this is rough. But is she a fan? I don't know.
Yeah.
I
don't know
maybe I
either.
should have done more research, looked at more interviews.
There really wasn't much to find. I went looking and I couldn't find a whole lot.
It's too early.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it is
we
too
gotta
early.
give some time for it. But this felt like one big music video.
Yeah.
That's really what it was.
Yeah.
The music is supposed to serve the film, not the film serve the music. That's a music video.
right.
So
Right.
So that's why this felt like that, because it felt like we were just one big conglomeration of music videos into one story. And if that's what they were going for, yeah, sure, they did it. But in terms of like a cinematic experience, a film,
That's right.
a movie, like,
Because here's something I thought of someone who's just, I'm aware of The Weeknd. I know his songs when I hear them out, in the world. when they showed his first performance, just of the one song, I thought you have to be a fan of this guy because all he does is walk out on stage and sing it and like walk back. I was like,
Yeah,
what's interesting about that?
Yeah, you just
besides
hear him,
absolutely nothing.
Yeah,
There's
you hear him
nothing interesting about it at all. So I thought, even if this were a music video, that would be a shite music video.
yeah,
You know,
just a guy walking,
just a guy walking, and there's no band. You know,
Right.
it's just him.
right?
And I maybe being an oldster, I like to see the dynamism of the whole band.
Totally.
You know, and there wasn't. It's just him and this crowd that sounds like they're 1,000 miles away.
Sure.
You know, is it just, that's where I thought, well, we're getting the real feeling of isolation here and separation and distance. And I thought, if that's what you want to convey and loneliness, you're doing it.
Sure.
But also, if make this performer dynamic and interesting. Why are these people going nuts?
This guy's just walking around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A nice voice. But why is it?
That's going to lead into my final point here. This felt very self-indulgent from both Abel
hugely
and the director.
Hugely.
It felt too heavy-handed from both of them, like it was a pissing contest between the two of them. You know, like it just felt overt, almost at a point where I was like, I get it.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. You're the Weeknd. I get it. You're this hugely popular guy,
Mm-hmm.
and you're an art. Like, I get it. And then with the director,
he's not human.
and he's not right. And the director, with all his little again, the elements that felt they weren't serving the story, that he was just doing it. It was like he was just flexing.
Yep.
Look what I can do with the
Right.
camera. Like, it just was like, all right,
Yeah.
I get it. Are we misdiagnosing this? Like, was it trying to give us that absence, that isolation?
And I was giving it the credit for that because I thought I thought it was very effective in that sense. And if it is trying to convey that, and I thought you're doing it really well, but the flexes you're talking about with the camera work and the spinning and these other things, they felt just like flourishes that made me. There are certain movies where I just think if I were, high as shit, this would be, like, ooh, I'd really be into it. But I just kept wondering why. I kept asking why.
Yeah. What is the purpose of this?
Right.
What is the purpose of this scene? This
Right.
conversation, this camera move, this weird red fuzzy.
Why are we looking at this?
I don't know what that is. What is that supposed to
Exactly.
represent
Exactly.
or mean? Like, it just wasn't clear. It was very confusing.
That's right.
And it just ended up feeling a little bit flat to me, a little bit absent, a little bit empty. The movie itself felt empty outside of
and perhaps that was
the story.
the story. And in that sense, super effective.
Sure.
Super effective.
Well, are you ready to see if our stars aligned on this one?
Yes,
Oh,
I am
boy.
ready. I don't even have to take my phone out.
I don't actually I don't need to either. I already know what I gave it. I'm guessing you gave it a 2 stars.
I gave it less.
Me too.
I gave it
You gave it 1. I gave it 1.5.
I gave it 1.5 and then I scaled it back.